Okay, sir. So we are live. Uh, Hello, my
Hey,
name is Devan.
give me 30 seconds.
Okay, 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 sir. Okay. Let's see if they are right. Okay, so we are live. Hello, my name is Devansh Goyal and I will be moderating this session for you. For this session, we have a visionary, Mr. Ravi Ranjan. Uh, a very good evening to you, sir. Uh,
Good evening.
so, First of all, how are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. Very, very good. I think this lockdown has been pretty interesting. Things have gone very nice. My engagement has increased. I'm meeting a lot of new people across the world. So pretty nice. Yeah. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, we are excellent. Thank you for asking. So, first of all, I would like you to brief our viewers about your entrepreneurial journey, how you started it.
Sure. So first of all, I while I promote entrepreneurship and I'm really engaged. I'm still to build a startup. I don't have a startup as of now, but I'm part of the ecosystem. I'll talk more about it. Very interesting journey. So before I do that, I would like to first congratulate the EDC team of NIT Durgapur. I remember last year I was invited by Sahil and a lot of other people. It was a very, very beautiful event. We went to the nice campus of NIT Durgapur. This year, again, I received the first email in January, and I was pretty excited, looking forward to come. But then coronavirus, COVID-19 happened, and things went in a very different way. What I'm excited about, and what I would like to congratulate the team on, that while the physical event was not possible due to so many reasons, the team actually took the opportunity to do an online event, and I see that you have been able to get more than 20 speakers from across the country, did some very interesting sessions. So all the team members of EDC NIT Durgapur, huge round of applause for all of you guys.
Thank you for appreciating our initiatives. So, I would like to begin with the first question. What, according to you, is the journey of a person from having an idea to developing it and executing it?
Sure, that's a very interesting question. For all the participants who are joining and who are listening to this event, some of you might want to build a startup. A lot of you would be thinking that, okay, maybe sometime I can do it. Some of you would have a startup. Now, the question is, before we actually go into this question, what is a startup? I mean, there are so many people who are doing businesses where you sell either your product or service and you get money in return of that. That's also a startup in a way. But why suddenly for the last 10-12 years people are speaking about startup? What is the fundamental difference between a business and a startup? I think that is that is more important. So to talk about that very, very quickly, I have a very quick presentation. Is that okay if we do the presentation, or just do a Q&A?
As you wish, sir.
Let me share this slide. It's pretty simple one. I think it will make a lot of sense for people. Let me just give me a second.
Sure, sir.
How does it work on Google Meet? All right, I think it's there. Can you see my screen, the slide?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we can see.
You can see it, right?
Yes,
Wonderful. Can you guys see the slide, startup versus businesses?
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Wonderful. So very important to understand that there's a fundamental difference between a business and a startup. So if you look at Reliance Communication, 2002, they launched the CDMA service with a 500 rupees handset and free incoming calls. They launched the GSM service in 2007, 100 million subscribers in 2010. But in 2017, the voice services are discontinued, and 2019, RCOM files for bankruptcy. One of the first and foremost leader in the telecom business went out. Why? A couple of very fundamental questions, and this is the example of the difference between a business and a startup. Look at Jio. They launched in September 2016 with free voice call and cheap data plans. 376 million subscribers by 2020. That's just 4 years. In 3 years, it is now India's largest and world's second largest telecom operator. Interestingly, during the last 2 months, they have raised $22.2 billion. Now, why I'm talking about the Reliance and Jio, they are all part of the same family business, Mukesh and Anil Ambani. But if you look at the fundamental difference, Reliance Jio, they don't call themselves a telecom company. They call themselves a platform. Also, in the last 4 years, Jio has spent more than $3 billion in acquiring the most innovative startups across India and outside to strengthen their platform. Also, while Jio is part of Reliance, they work like a startup. Now, what is a startup? A startup tries to solve a large problem which impact a lot of people. Making money is definitely a very important aspect, but solving the problem is the first and foremost example. So for all the participants who would like to build a startup venture, first of all, you need to understand what problem you're solving. Is it something which has not been solved? Is it something which is already solved, but you're trying to improvise it? Or is it something which is going to be interesting in a couple of years down the line? So that's what I wanted to share very quickly. Next, happy to take the next question.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you for the presentation and taking the time to make it. So my next question is regarding the hard times we are facing now. It's related to that. So what, according to you, was the situation before this crisis? Was it good? Was it bad? What are your views on it before the crisis?
Sure. I assume that question will come. So I have this slide here. All right. Can you see the slide?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely.
It's visible, right? Okay, so you asked about how the situation was earlier and how the situation is now. Let me first tell you that this is not the first time when startup ecosystem or businesses have seen a challenge like this. Way back in 1919, when the First World War happened, this was actually a very interesting time in disguise. For the first time in the world, after 1919, which is 1920, women who started working in the formal business sector, they were identified as workforce. Before 1920, women were not working actively in the business segment. So if you look at 1920 crisis, there was a huge pandemic during 1919, and after that, the World War I kind of finished, and that was a nice time. Fast forward to July 1990. There was a dot-com bubble. It bursted. It went on for 8 months. March 2001, the Nasdaq crashed. And December 2007 to 2009, there was an 18-month of financial meltdown. This data is from CB Insights and Traction. But look at this interesting point. A lot of unicorns were born during recession. If you look at Indian unicorns, now a unicorn is a private limited company which is valued at $1 billion or above. More than 25% or 9 unicorns out of 36 unicorns we have in India, they were born during these 2 years of global recession. Also, if you look at the global landscape, more than 72 unicorns out of 464, they were born during the same situation. So I would say, while COVID-19 has been, not very positive, a lot of businesses are hit, especially into travel, tourism, hotel industry. But at the same time, this is the best opportunity for an entrepreneur to build a venture. Why do I say that? Number one, you have a lot of time to reiterate your idea and relook at what you're trying to solve. Talent is available because a lot of people are going to, have to let go of their jobs. The third and most important point, new opportunities will come up. I think these are the couple of fundamental, points which I have to make on my take. What was good before COVID, what is not so good, and what can be good after COVID. Yes.
Okay, sir. Thanks, sir. Moving on to the next question. You as a startup expert, what would you advise to the budding entrepreneurs as they battle this crisis and they don't lose hope in starting up?
Again, I have to bring up my slide here.
Yes, sir.
Allow me a second.
Yes.
All right, here we go. Is it visible now?
Let me check, sir. Yes, yes, it's visible.
My slide is visible, right?
Yes.
All right, moving on to your question. So when you build a startup, it's already a very, very uncertain journey. It's something which is not very exciting. There are so many downfalls, there are so many challenges, there are so many issues which you will be facing. Let me share an example of Vedantu. It's a startup which started in 2014. It's a live interactive classes. They started as an offline mentoring and test prep company. It was known as Lakshya in 2005 before they launched Vedantu. But look at Vedantu today. They have 15 million users. They have 150,000 people who are paying to get their live programs, and they raised $6.8 million. That is pretty interesting. So for all the entrepreneurs during the COVID-19 crisis, what I would like to share with all of them is that if you are in a vertical where it has been hit by COVID, for example, travel or tourism or something like that, the only thing which you can do right now is pivot. What is pivot? Pivot is when you move from your original business model to something else. I'll give you an example of a company called Fab Hotel. I'm sure a lot of people would know about Fab Hotel. So Fab Hotel is I would say it's a semi-premium hotel chain, something above Oyo and something below a 5-star hotel chain. They're into that medium premium segment. Now COVID-19 hit and all the hotels were shut down. Nobody is going to stay in hotels. What can they do? They pivoted very, very quickly. And what they did is that they started offering a 100% sanitized workspace solution for IT companies. So IT employees who are in various cities across India, they can go and stay at a Fab hotel and work from there, because you get a secure infrastructure, you get internet connection, you get food, and you can maintain social distance and hygiene. Very quickly, they also started onboarding doctors and caregivers across the country, and they started offering Fab hotels to all these people. Imagine during the lockdown when most of the hotels are at a verge of collapse, Fab Hotel has actually increased their revenue. This is how you need to look without changing the business model. So I'm not asking you to go and start selling sanitizer and masks. If you're selling, let's say, software, try and see how you can pivot your existing business model so that it can accommodate the opportunities which are there in front of you. That's the best way ahead. Devansh.
Thank you, sir. We actually have a question from the audience. It's from Ravi Ranjan. He says, did you try your luck starting a startup yet?
Yes, so let me tell you. So I could not answer your first question. So I come from a very small village in Jharkhand. When I was growing up here, a lot of challenges I faced. I think that has acted really well. My village was the highest Naxal affected area. I studied from a government school with almost no infrastructure. So I always had this desire in my mind that I want to do something to help people. I first became a journalist. When I went and joined media, I figured out that that's not the best way to actually solve problems. Then I got a chance to work with the Indian startup ecosystem. I have spent more than 11 years working with startups across the country. I worked with some of the largest angel networks, incubators, both in India and outside. After working with a lot of companies, while I was working with NASSCOM, from 2014 to 17, I started visiting a lot of colleges, and I figured out that in order to promote and build a very strong ecosystem, I need to help students understand entrepreneurship. The journey which started in 2015, it has been 5 years now. I have got an opportunity to train more than 150,000 students and 5,000 teachers on entrepreneurship. And in 2018, towards end of 2017, I quit my job and I started a consulting firm. I can call it a startup, but I don't call it a startup because there are still so many things which I need to do before I can call myself a startup founder. It's a consulting company where I consult state government, large corporates, colleges, and I also consult chambers on how to work in the field of entrepreneurship and innovation. So I have tried my luck. This company is doing really well. I'm working with 4 state government, working with so many other enterprises. But the most important and powerful thing is that I have this opportunity to work with entrepreneurs every single day. Just to give you some numbers, March 24th, when the lockdown started, since March 24th till now, which is June 20th, I have hosted more than 200 sessions for entrepreneurs, investors, government across the world. I have reached almost close to 100,000 audience just in last 3 months. So I'm very satisfied, and I would say I'm very privileged to inspire people across the country to choose entrepreneurship as a career option, especially for students, and to work with government on implementing their entrepreneurship policies on the ground. Devansh.
Uh, yes, sir. The next question is from Satya Mishra from the audience. He asks, how will the startups be affected after lockdown? I mean, what would be the scenario of different startups, or what's ahead of it?
So as I already mentioned during my presentation, I think this is the best time for startup right now and 6 months down the line. Look at all around you. You can see the good companies are not only surviving, but they are thriving. Geo is one example. They raised $22.2 billion. Unacademy raised a very, very big round. Companies like Zoom are doing phenomenal. They raised very little money, but they increased their users from 10 million before COVID to now 400 million. If you look at software companies, if you look at delivery companies, today Big Basket across India, they have wait listing to deliver products because there's so much demand. If you look at delivery companies like Delivery and Shadowfax and others, they have so much work coming to you. So you need to figure out today in 2020, be it COVID or not COVID, if you're not building your business, which is online, if you're not building your business, which is very highly scalable, if you're not building your business, which is very, very low cash sensitive, something is not correct.
Okay, sir. We have another question from the audience. It's Aniket Verma. He asks, what do you think are the most important things to boost small startups in India?
A lot of things. I think, what do you mean by small startup? A small startup or a big startup doesn't really make a difference. If you're solving a problem, you don't need to be a unicorn. You don't need to have $1 billion valuation. If you're solving a good problem, you're doing good work. I'll tell you an example. There's a company called Chikitsak. It's now rebranded. Chikitsak has a hardware solution. Using this hardware solution, they have partnered with state governments like Telangana, Kerala, Jharkhand, and a lot of other states. It's like a doctor in a device. You take this device to a small village, people put their fingerprint, and you can collect samples like blood pressure, glucose level, ECG, EEG, so many. They are saving lives. Let me give you another example. Sundarban, it's a very nice place in West Bengal. Every year, thousands of people in Sundarban are attacked by crocodile. They are attacked by a lot of other wild animals. The nearest hospital from Sundarban is 200 kilometers away. A lot of people die because they can't reach hospital. And if you look at the world, every single month, thousands of people die because they do not receive blood on time. Can you solve this problem? Can you build a solution which can save these lives? In today's world, 90% engineers are unemployable. You know what is the reason? 2 reasons. Number one, the curriculum is not aligned to what industry is asking for. Students do not spend time on getting these skills. But the most important, a lot of engineers and general students, they lack soft skills. Can you build a startup on YouTube where you train people how to speak nicely, how to write a CV, how to present themselves, how to communicate well? trust me, if you do that, you'll be able to do great work. I'll give you an example. I have a friend, his name is Vineet Kapoor. He's from Lucknow. I met him 2 years ago. He said, Ravi, I'm trying to build a YouTube channel where I would train people how to speak English in a very simple, fundamental way. From that time till today, his channel has grown from 5 users to today 750,000 users. These are some very, very small example of how to solve a big problem. So no matter if you are the next SpaceX or if you are building the next solution to save lives, what is important and what can help boost these companies is a little bit of support from the local ecosystem, which can be incubators, investors, a little bit of support from government, but more support from the startup themselves. They need to build a brand. They need to create a niche for themselves so that users can come and trust on their particular brand. Devansh.
Okay, sir. The next question, Anik Saha asks, how did you meet Meghdut and Polly?
Okay, how did I meet Meghdut and Pauline? Okay, that's an interesting question. So Meghdut is a very good friend. He is someone who believes in innovation, and he's someone who, while he's from Kolkata, he has traveled the world and he loves the city. I am from Jharkhand. I love my state. I love East India. Especially, I love tier 2, tier 3 cities where there are a lot of opportunities, but there are a lot of challenges. So when I moved from Bangalore to Kolkata, let me give you this very quick story. So I am from Jharkhand, a very small place. I studied from here. I then moved to Delhi, worked there. From there, I moved to Hong Kong. From there, I moved to Mumbai, Pune. Then from there, I moved to Bangalore. And then when I was building my company, I had an option to live anywhere in the country. I chose Kolkata because it's very close to my hometown. It has an airport. I travel 22 days a month. So I have to take a flight almost every other day. When I was trying to work in East India, I saw Meghdut is trying to build a very interesting opportunity for Techno India, which is one of the largest education group in the country. So I said, Meghdut, let's do something together. And then we started, working on promoting innovation at Techno India group. They have 100,000 students. They have 100 colleges, 4 universities, 20 schools. And then we also started traveling across East India and outside to promote and evangelize entrepreneurship. That's how we met.
Another question is from Khushbu Sinha. She asks, what kind of a person makes a successful entrepreneur?
Sure, that's a very interesting question. I think entrepreneurship is a very long journey. It's a very tiring journey. Most of the time, if you look at the data, out of 10 startups, 8 would fail. Majority of them fail because the entrepreneur does not have that kind of passion which is required to solve a very complex problem. Also, you need to be a leader to be an entrepreneur. So one thing which I would like to share here, a lot of students today are trying to build a startup because it's fancy. So it's a joke. I just keep telling my friends. Students were earlier looking at cool things like playing guitar is cool, getting a tattoo is cool, playing in a band is cool, and now startup is the next cool thing. Writing on social media that I'm a founder is cool, but I think what's interesting is that you need to understand when you're building a venture, it's a long-term commitment. You need to spend a lot of time before your company can become successful. So you need to have, number 1, passion. Number 2, resilience. You need to be a hustler. And most importantly, you need to be a leader so that you can bring people together. You need to have a strong team. You should be able to raise funding. You should be able to expand. You should be able to face problems. You should be able to convince your family. I think these are the qualities which you need to have.
Okay, sir. The next question is from Raj Gaurav. He asks, how can we make contact with investors if we have a startup idea?
A lot of things. I think I had a full presentation on this, but somehow Google Meet interface is very confusing. I'm not able to share my deck, but I'm just going to explain it. So first thing, you need to understand investors will not invest in your company because you are trying to build something. And at an early stage, you cannot expect investors to put money. You need to be at a certain stage where you have validation either from customers or from users, and you need to have some revenues coming in. You need to have some sort of validation. But how do you reach till that point? couple of fundamental and very simple things. Number one, friends and family. You can raise some money from your friends and family, because if you can convince them, I'm sure you can convince your customers. Number two, there are a lot of business plan events happening across the country. You can apply for them. For example, Eureka from IIT and IIT Bombay and others, you can get some money from there. Government of India also has a lot of schemes, especially for engineering students. There's something called Nidhi EIR. You can apply for Nidhi EIR and you can get a scholarship up to 35,000 rupees for next 12 months if you're building a startup. If none of them works, you can use bootstrapping. What is bootstrapping? It's a very simple funda. You build your product so well that you can start making money from day one. And then from that money, you keep on growing. Or if you build something very, very innovative where you can file a patent, you can then license that patent, or you can actually get a lot of money. So for example, Oculus Rift, it was designed by a 17-year-old kid in San Francisco in a garage. It got acquired by Facebook for $1 billion, even before the product was launched, because it was like an outstanding product. So this is how you can raise capital. In order to reach to angel investors, you can reach out to them on their website. You can reach out to them on LinkedIn, and there are a lot of events happening across your city. You should keep an eye open for them and join those events.
Okay, sir. So Praveen has the next question. He asks, if this is the best time for startup, one mistake can hit you to the rock bottom. So how can we go about starting up?
Yeah, I mean, I would not say that one mistake will take you to rock bottom. I think you need to first understand, what is the product you're building? Is it solving a problem? Yes. If yes, then very, very good. Go ahead. If there are already players working in that same domain, you need to figure out what is going to be your differentiator. Once you figure that out, then you need to start acquiring customers, use digital marketing, use social media to get your first users. But before you do all of this, you need to do a very active market research. And your market research is not a Google form which you send to your class and get filled in. Send it to real customers who would be able to give you crucial feedback. Once you launch your product, try and grow steadily so that you can achieve target. And don't build a company to raise funding. Don't build a company because there's money available. Build a company because you actually want to solve a problem. I think if your intentions are genuine and if your intentions are strong, I don't think you're going to fail.
So the next question is from Swagata Lakshmi Sengupta. She says, according to you, what role does common sense and good public relation skills play when one begins to start?
Common sense, what was the second part?
The second one was good public relation skills.
Very, very important. I think public relations, more than that, personal branding is very important. When you are building a startup, if you are already very popular and connected with people, it becomes very easy to get partners, very easy to reach out to relevant people, also to hire people. I'll give you an example. So I have a fair following. I have around 40,000, 50,000 people on various platforms. Every time I post a content, there are so many people who are interacting with the content. So when I announced that I'm going to build a venture, I got so many emails from people saying that please, give me an opportunity to work with you. Even before they know what I'm building, even before they know what are they going to get paid. And today my team it consists of people who know me personally because they understand the kind of work I'm doing. So personal branding works really, really well. Common sense, I think that's a very important and fundamental thing. Everyone should have it. I think it's a common sense. Everyone should have it, but unfortunately, people don't have it. So if you have the presence of mind, if you know when to say what, how to do what, I think you are already winning. So I think that's a very basic fundamental skill which you need to have.
Thank you, sir. The next question is from Sahil Jain. He's actually an alumni of EDC group. He says, how to be the CEO without founding a company, without being a founder?
Sure, that's a very nice question. I think Sahil, remember my talk from last year where I spoke about this. So Sahil, to answer your question and to all the participants, this is something which I truly believe in. This is called entrepreneurship. Very important for a lot of management students and engineering students as well, because I would say more than 95% of students would not build a startup. They would go and work in a company. So it becomes very crucial when you join a company like Google, where there are 100,000 people working in various countries across the world. How can you differentiate yourself from 100,000 people working for the same company? Now, to answer that question, there is a very important skill which all the students should definitely have. It's called entrepreneurship. Now, an entrepreneur is a person who works in a large company, or it can be a small or medium company, but he works as a team member. He's not the founder of that company. However, if you act and you work like an entrepreneur, you have an opportunity to go up to the ladder and become a CEO. Some of the best examples, we have Satya Nadella from Microsoft, we have Sundar Pichai from Alphabet, we have Indra Nooyi from PepsiCo, who recently stepped down, we have the MasterCard CEO, the Adobe head. All of these people are not the founder of these companies, but they are at the top position of these companies. Why? Why did that happen? I think that you can answer that question yourself. When you are part of a team where there are, let's say, 2,000 people working, every single time when there's an opportunity coming in or a challenge coming in, you are the first one to raise your hand. You come up with solutions rather than being part of the problem. You take risk. You show leadership capability. You show that you can solve this problem. Once you do that, management starts believing in you. The founders start believing in you. The board starts believing in you. You will get an opportunity to start leading a new vertical altogether. Once you do that, you have an opportunity to become different from 100,000 people. And I would not be exaggerating if I say that if you're doing really good, you might end up being the CEO of the company which you not started.
Thank you, sir. The next question is from another of our alumni of EDC. His name is Swarnendu Mandal. He asks, since you have helped setting up incubators across the country, can you help my team for the same in college?
Certainly. So that's very interesting. I have a company which I started recently. That I can call my startup. It's called LearnScript. It's a very interesting company. What we are doing is that we are helping colleges across the country to create world-class incubation center for their students and for their entire group, where we help them build a very interesting incubation model so that all the students who are trying to build a venture can come and get all the support required to take the idea from scratch to a level where both the incubator and the student can actually get benefited. Yes, we can do that. Happy to do it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Actually, there is another question. What's your plan? Since you are a startup promoter, what's your plan in promoting entrepreneurship after the crisis or during this crisis? So that what's your plan in this?
Sure, certainly. So as I mentioned, during the lockdown, I have already spoken to, I would say, 100,000 people across the world. I also did a lot of sessions for various governments. So for government of Jharkhand, I started a series of events where we are covering all the basic fundamental, which reaches out to all the entrepreneurs from Jharkhand. I hosted a session for government of Gujarat, where I spoke about how to build solutions both during COVID and post-COVID. I take a lot of sessions for students across the country for various colleges, where I train them that, listen, already 5 million plus people have lost their jobs who were working in the best companies in the world. And I have been telling this to a lot of students across the country that in 2020, if you are in first year, by the time you graduate, your dream company where you are dreaming that, oh, if I get a job in this company, my life is settled, that company might not exist because the world is changing at a very fast pace. So what you need to do, you need to have the skill which will make you relevant, not only for today, but 3 years down the line when you will be graduating. People who are already working in companies, you need to understand that there's going to be a huge change in the way people work, because a lot of businesses are shifting online. Some of the businesses are going online only. So it requires you to do multitasking. It requires you to have skills. People who are in software, you need to understand that if you are studying C, C++, or Java, and you are expecting to get a good job in Google or Microsoft, you need to understand that you need to be one of the best coder. Are you already on GitHub? Are you already competing in hackathons? Do you have a lot of insight on the best languages available? Are you a full stack developer? Are you good with JavaScript? Are you good with Node? Are you good with Ruby? Are you good with Python? Are you good with Bootstrap? Are you good with all the new languages coming up? Because when a company is trying to hire you, they would not hire you because you can build a software which was written in 2010. They are looking to hire you so that you can build a software which will be used in 2023. Yeah, Devansh.
Okay, sir. So this is the last question. It's from Aniket Verma. He asks, what do you think is the first step to start one's journey if one has an idea?
Yes, so for that, I definitely have to use my PPT, and let's see how does it work. I have to send this feedback to Google that your screen sharing options are really bad. 1 second. Hold on.
Sir, you can continue with the presentation. You will be presenting, and in the meantime,
Is
Sahil
it
Bhaiya.
visible?
Yes, sir. The presentation is visible.
Yes, Sahil, go ahead.
And Sahil Jain will be joining us. Meanwhile, you can continue with the presentation.
Okay, sure. Spoke about this. Let me talk about this. Is it visible full screen, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Boeing started in 1916. NASA pays $4.6 billion to Boeing so that they can send 6 flights to International Space Station. NASA also pays $90 million per astronaut per flight. Now, you asked, how can you build a startup? Look at this. A company started in 2002. NASA pays SpaceX $3.1 billion for 6 flights to International Space Station. NASA is paying $55 million. But what SpaceX did as a startup, which is so amazing because they started just 18 years ago, competing with Boeing, which started in 1916. They are first in history to launch 2 rockets and have them land within 48 hours. They also launched Falcon Heavy, which became the most powerful commercial rocket in the world to ever be launched. This is one very quick example about how to build a company. So you have to live in the future. Build solutions which are going to be used a couple of years down the line. Look at what is missing in the world. Write it down, bounce that idea around, make a prototype. Show it to a lot of people. Don't show it to your friends. Show it to real customers who will give you crucial, blunt feedback. Work on those feedbacks. Reiterate your prototype. Find a co-founder because that's going to be very, very crucial. Look for funding. Build various version 1 at the same time. Launch. Once you launch, follow up with users. What is working? What is not working? Keep growing, and then you can continue. This is a model which was used by Airbnb, and it has been really, really successful. Let me talk about one more thing. Yeah. So if you look at these 4 companies, these are very crucial. These companies answer 2 questions. Number 1, how to start at an early stage, and what a startup can change in the world. Skype, a small company started from Estonia, a country which is so small, so cold, there's no agriculture, but this one company changed the entire country. Today, founders of Skype and early team members, they have built so many companies. Flipkart started as a young company. They were selling books in Koramangala. Today, they got acquired by Walmart, one of the biggest company, and they not only made a lot of money, they inspired so many people in India to build solutions. Gojek, it's a very small company which started in Indonesia. Today, they are the largest company in Southeast Asia. They have billions of dollars of valuation, but one thing which they have done, they have given job to millions of people in Indonesia. And the last but most important company, Google, it started as a small library indexing. They requested Yahoo to acquire them. Yahoo said, I don't think it makes sense for us. Today, Google has literally powered billions of users across the world. so that they can build solutions. I think you need to look at solution which is very, very important, which solve a lot of problem, and you need to start small, but always have this goal in mind that you need to solve large problems. Devansh, yes.
Yes, sir. Now, Sahil Jain, the alumni of our team, will be joining us. He has some questions for us.
Hey
Hey,
So I'll
Ravi,
hand it
how
Sahil,
are you doing?
doing very
I'm
good. How are
fine,
you?
Ravi. I'm fine. How are you?
Very, very good.
Okay. So this question, as we come to the end of the talk, this would be a little more of a motivational, informal kind of a question. When you came last year into NIT Durgapur for the e-talk, we saw Ravi Ranjan 1.0, but 3-4 months later we saw Ravi Ranjan 2.0. How did you make that transformation happen? Because a lot of my followers, a lot of my friends, a lot of my juniors, and a lot of your followers asked me, can we get his number so that we can ask him how did you did that transformation? Yeah.
Sure, Sahil. Thank you so much. That's actually a very important question. While it is not related to the talk, but I would say it is very important that we discuss that. So, entrepreneurs across the world, somehow there's a bad practice. People expect entrepreneurs to work 18 hours a day, not take care of themselves. Most of the entrepreneurs have problems with their health. They have various diseases which are coming up and catching up with them. So I thought that I should set a different example for followers who look up to me. As an entrepreneur, you are supposed to be disciplined, and your discipline should start from your own health. We work really, really hard, but we neglect our health and our mental well-being. This is a big problem which people don't realize. It is very, I would say, common for people to spend 5 extra hours in office. 5 o'clock your shift gets over, you're still sitting in office. Why do you need to do that? Just to show your boss that you're working hard? Not really. If you're working efficiently, you should be done by 3 p.m. So I realized that as an entrepreneur, I need to bring discipline to my life. I was a little overweight. I took this challenge on myself. I met a very nice dietitian. She gave me this very disciplined diet which I had to follow. I took it as an entrepreneur. I said I'm going to put a very entrepreneurial approach. So I did a lot of research. A person who has never spent any time on health, in the last 18 months, I would say I have become a micro expert on health. I know what is a micro, what is a macro, what is the protein intake, what is the vitamin, what is zinc, what is everything. So I took this opportunity. I spent a lot of time, went into a healthy lifestyle. I reduced 15 kg of weight in 60 days, which is very, very uncommon. And most importantly, I continued that. And as an entrepreneur, that is what you need to do. You solve a problem and you keep on building onto that. So all my clothes were redundant. I was not able to use them. I had to spend a lot of money on buying new clothes. But I realized that I was able to inspire so many people. And a lot of people reached out to me saying, I would like to do that. As an entrepreneur, this is what you need to do. Look at a problem, build an approach to solve it. And then once you solve that, keep improving every single day. Sahil.
Thanks a lot. That was indeed inspiring and it was informative. Hope you could write up a blog, an article, what all you did, your research and all. Okay. So there's
Sure.
more last question from my side. So, what would you prefer, a jack of all trades or master of one, and why?
Yeah, I think the world has changed. While you definitely need to be master of one, if you're going in for a job, you need to be a good software programmer or you need to be a good investment banker. But if you're building an entrepreneurship venture, if you're building a startup, you cannot be just good in sales or just good in technology. You need to be very good at technology, but you need to be good at marketing, how to sell, how to do branding, all of that. So for job, definitely be a master of one. When you're building a venture, you need to have a little bit of everything with expertise in one particular segment.
Thanks a lot, Ravi.
Thanks a
Yeah.
lot for joining us today. You definitely reached our stage. It is e-summit stage last year and this year, and made this event very, very informative for budding entrepreneurs. We are very lucky to have you. Thank you, sir.
Thanks a lot, Devansh. Before we conclude, I would like to take this opportunity to tell you guys. So, as I mentioned, I come from a very small village in Jharkhand. Growing up, I studied from a government school. There was no table and bench. We used to sit on, these boards. There was no fan. There was no air conditioning. When I went to college, I could not speak even a word of English. Not even a word. I could not say my name is Ravi Ranjan. From there, I got an opportunity to work as a radio jockey, as a journalist. I worked with some of the best companies in the world, assisted companies like Facebook, Google, Microsoft on a lot of their projects. In 2016, I was selected as an emerging leader by government of US. This is a program called IVLP where people like Atal Bihari Vajpayee and Indira Gandhi, all of them went. I have trained 150,000 students, 5,000 teachers. Why I'm telling you all of this? Because when I go back to my childhood, I could not have even dreamt in my wildest dream that I could do this. Today I'm doing it, and I'm actually doing way more things. I mean, it's almost like a dream for me. Now, if a student like me or an individual like me with no resources, because try and understand, when I was in school, there was no internet. When I was in college, there was no internet. There was almost no support system, but still I have been able to achieve a little bit, not very much. Today, you guys are studying at one of the best colleges. Some of them are from ADC, NIT Durgapur. Some of them are from various other colleges. You have internet to you. You have mentors available. You can do way better. If I can do so many things without any support, with you guys, with all these supports, I think you should not settle for mediocre things. To get a job in a company, okay, nice. To get a car, okay, nice. But what I would expect from all of you, to solve real problems which can impact millions of people. No, don't think about just making money. Think about impacting millions of people. That's what would be expected from you. And I think that's what you need to deliver as well.
Definitely, sir. Definitely. We all see to your suggestions, and we see that we are heard in your mind.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Devansh. Thank you, everyone. Once again, guys from EDC and IT, Durgapur, congratulations on pulling up this event. Wish you guys all the best for the rest of the events tomorrow as well. Have a great day ahead.
Thanks.
Bye, Sabah.